Imagine a flight departing under a clear sky, only to plummet from the sky hours later, a victim of an unthinkable act from within. Today we're going to unravel the tragic story of Germanwings Flight 9525. On March 24, 2015, this routine flight from Barcelona to Dusseldorf took a disastrous turn. The main characters of our story are the captain, an experienced aviator with a passion for the skies, and the co-pilot, a man wrestling with unseen demons. This incident would leave a deep scar on the face of aviation, challenging our understanding of safety, trust, and mental health in this high-stakes profession. Join us as we delve into the chilling chronicles of March 24, 2015. The journey began like any other, with Flight 9525 smoothly transitioning to the Marseille en route control center. The exchange between the cockpit and air traffic control was routine, the hum of the engines a comforting rhythm. The Airbus A320, operated by Germanwings, was cruising at a comfortable 38,000 feet, with 150 souls on board. As the flight continued, the captain excused himself to use the restroom, a normal occurrence on any long-haul flight. The co-pilot, Andreas Lubitz, was left alone in the cockpit. In what seemed like an ordinary moment, the co-pilot took control of the aircraft. He began by initiating a descent, slowly at first but steadily. The plane began to lose altitude, a change that would have been almost imperceptible to the passengers. But it was what happened next that marked the beginning of the nightmare. Lubitz activated the cockpit lock, effectively sealing himself in and locking the captain out. But little did the passengers know, they were now under the control of a man with a dark plan. The cockpit, a sacred space in an aircraft, became a fortress of despair. The cockpit door, designed to keep threats out, was now keeping help out. The co-pilot, in a chilling misuse of the cockpit security system, had locked the door, turning the cockpit into an impregnable stronghold. This was not a temporary lockdown, mind you. The co-pilot had permanently locked the door, barring any and all access. On the other side of this reinforced barrier, the captain found himself in an unimaginable situation. His desperate attempts to break into the cockpit were met with the cold, unyielding reality of the reinforced door. The captain pounded on the door, pleaded for entry, but the door, fortified to withstand terrorist attacks, remained impervious to his desperate attempts. No matter how much force was applied, how much the captain pleaded, the door remained locked. The cockpit, designed to be the safest place on the plane, was now a prison of despair. All pleas for entry fell on deaf ears as the cockpit door remained locked. Behind the locked door sat a man battling inner demons unbeknownst to all. The co-pilot, whose name we will not glorify here, carried a heavy burden. He had a history of mental health struggles. Specifically, he had been wrestling with periods of depression. There were phases of his life where the clouds of melancholy would part, but they always seemed to return, each time a bit darker, a bit denser. His struggle was not a solitary one. He sought help, he was under treatment, he was on medication. However, the labyrinth of the mind is a complex one and not easily navigated. The co-pilot, akin to many others dealing with mental health issues, wore a mask of normalcy, hiding his internal turmoil from the world. In the days leading up to the fateful flight, doctors had declared him unfit to fly. However, this information was never shared with his employers. It was a secret, a ticking time bomb, hidden away in the co-pilot's pocket, in the form of a torn medical certificate. The question that arises here is not an easy one. Why did he choose to hide his condition? Was it fear of stigma? Fear of losing his job? Or was it something more sinister? We may never know. What we do know is that a man declared unfit to fly was now at the helm of a descending aircraft. The co-pilot's plan was set in motion, a plan that had been researched and rehearsed. In the days leading up to the flight, the co-pilot had spent hours online exploring the intricacies of the cockpit door locking mechanism. This was not a spur-of-the-moment decision. It was a calculated, premeditated act. On that fateful day, the co-pilot waited for the precise moment when the captain left the cockpit for a brief break. Seizing this opportunity, he manipulated the cockpit security system, locking the door and effectively sealing his fate along with the lives of 149 others on board. For the remainder of the flight, the co-pilot remained eerily silent, ignoring the frantic pleas and desperate attempts of the captain to regain control of the aircraft. He also dismissed the air traffic control's repeated calls, choosing to remain isolated in the cockpit with his devastating intentions. The aircraft began its steady descent, a descent that was manually initiated by the co-pilot. Despite the advanced technology and safety measures in place, the plane was now on a fatal trajectory toward the French Alps, all under the co-pilot's deliberate control, and then the inevitable, a descent into the heart of the Alps. The world woke up to a tragedy that shook the very foundation of aviation safety. March 24, 2015, marked a day of profound loss, as 150 lives were abruptly extinguished in the French Alps. The aftermath was a maelstrom of grief and disbelief, with families of the victims grappling with the unimaginable reality of their loved ones' demise. This catastrophic event triggered a seismic shift in the aviation industry. The realization that a pilot could hijack a plane and use it as a weapon of mass destruction prompted an immediate and sweeping review of safety protocols. A spotlight was thrown on the mental health of pilots, leading to increased psychological screening and support. One of the most significant changes was the introduction of the two-person cockpit rule. This policy mandates that 2 authorized personnel must be present in the cockpit at all times during flight, a safety measure designed to prevent a repeat of the Germanwings disaster, ensuring that a single individual cannot gain exclusive control of an aircraft. These measures, born from tragedy, are a testament to the aviation industry's resilience and determination to continually enhance the safety of air travel. Out of the ashes rose a renewed commitment to aviation safety. In the wake of the tragedy, Lufthansa found itself at the center of a storm. The airline was faced with the monumental task of not only addressing the incident, but also providing compensation to the victims' families. Each family was initially offered 50,000 euros as immediate aid. This, however, was not the end of the compensation process. Several lawsuits followed, some of which resulted in settlements in the millions, a stark reminder of the immense human cost of the incident. In the midst of these challenges, Lufthansa also undertook a significant rebranding effort. The Germanwings brand, which had been tarnished by the incident, was gradually phased out. In its place, Eurowings emerged as the new face of Lufthansa's low-cost operations. It's important to note that this decision was made prior to the crash, but the transition was expedited in the aftermath. The rebranding was a strategic move to distance the airline from the tragedy, a testament to the long-lasting impact such incidents can have on a brand's reputation. A tragic incident, a brand tarnished, and a new beginning. Years later, the incident continues to raise unsettling questions. The most pressing of these is why the co-pilot's risk to himself and others wasn't identified by multiple doctors. Despite his history of depression and being declared unfit to fly, he was still able to take control of a plane. It makes us question the effectiveness of the checks and balances in place and whether they are sufficient to protect those in the skies. The incident also casts a spotlight on the complex issue of mental health in the aviation industry. The stigma attached to mental health issues may discourage pilots from seeking help or disclosing their conditions for fear of losing their careers. It's a chilling reminder that mental health is not a personal issue, but a safety issue that can have far-reaching consequences. But from this tragic event, important lessons have been learned. It has prompted significant changes in the industry, including increased psychological screening for pilots and the implementation of the two-person cockpit rule. These measures aim to prevent such incidents from happening again, but they also raise new challenges in balancing mental health considerations with aviation safety. The story of Germanwings Flight 9525 is a grim reminder of the complexity of mental health in the aviation industry. It underscores the need for continued vigilance, open dialogue, and constant improvement in safety protocols to ensure that the skies remain safe for all. The story of Germanwings Flight 9525 is a stark reminder of the challenges in aviation safety. We've traveled together through a chilling narrative, from the unsuspecting takeoff to the devastating crash in the French Alps. We've examined the co-pilot's troubling mental health history, the misuse of the cockpit security system, and the desperate attempts of the locked-out captain. This incident, heart-rending and shocking, is thankfully an extreme rarity. The aviation industry is one of the most regulated sectors in the world, with safety nets and precautions in place to prevent such tragedies. Yet, as we have seen, these systems are not infallible. Germanwings, Flight 9525 serves as a grim reminder of the need for continuous improvements and vigilance in aviation safety. In the aftermath, the industry has responded. The implementation of increased psychological screening and the two-person cockpit rule are steps towards preventing a repeat of this tragedy. But the incident also raises difficult ethical questions. How do we balance the privacy of an individual with the safety of the many? The co-pilot's doctors, bound by patient confidentiality, were unable to communicate their concerns to the airline. These ethical dilemmas are not easily resolved and require ongoing discussion and debate. As we continue to navigate these complex issues, we must remember the importance of transparency, communication, and vigilance in the aviation industry. We encourage you to delve deeper into this topic. Consider the implications for healthcare professionals, the ongoing challenges in aviation safety, and the lessons that can be drawn from this tragic event. As we conclude, let us remember the 150 lives lost on that fateful day in March 2015. Let their memory serve as a reminder of the importance of vigilance, transparency, and the continuous pursuit of safety in aviation. Thank you for joining us on this somber journey. As we continue to soar the skies, let us remember the lessons from Flight 9525.